In an earlier chapter, we did look at library objects in Wysiwyg. We're going to go into a little bit more detail now. We're going to look at a wider range of library items to see the collection that's in there. We're not really going to insert them into this project because we don't need them. It's quite simple. You click and point. But we're just going to have a quick dive into the sort of library items and the sort of things that I like to use and why I use them. So in lesson 20, we're near the end of this chapter now, where we're looking at how we can draw objects. We're going to go right back into the library. So if you haven't got the library browser down here, this is where it should be. If you click on it, you might be able to hide it. If you haven't got it, it's up here. You click on this L, the library. You also get it if you click on the fixture library. It brings up the library. Both of them are ways of bringing it up. So there it is. Depending on which button you click, if you clicked on library, it bring up this. If you clicked on this fixture icon here, it would have gone straight to here. And we're going to look at these in the next chapter. We're going to look at all the lights and accessories and trusses and things. But for now, we're just looking at this library here. All the other things, colours, gobos, lamps, we don't need any of that. So when we inserted our CAD plan, you remember it said that you can insert something as a library item. So this is what it's done, is it's put all those elements into the library under DWG. So if you're wondering what that is, it came in when we did the import, and we can ignore it, we don't need it. Same thing for objects. Sometimes as things go in there, you sometimes find little folders that you're not expecting that don't look like part of the Wysiwyg library. That's because they would have come in with something you've imported. Now in objects, we've got pretty much everything you could think of that you'd ever need for an event, not necessarily everything you'd ever need for theatre. So we can go through the folder one thing at a time. So architecture, we have a door, and we've got lots of different doors. A nice little picture comes up just demonstrating what it looked like to you. So, you know, if you're working on a medieval castle in your set design, you may not find one of those because obviously Wysiwyg can't have something for everything. So that's where you need to have your own custom models. But for most generic things, you know, you've got something you need. The things that I like the best are actually the mannequins. Let's go all the way back to library. Peoples and mannequins. There's 3 generations of mannequins. These are the traditional old-fashioned sort of artist models, which are quite useful. I can never remember which one it is, but it's around about standing. For some reason, number 1 doesn't start as anything useful. You have to go through quite a few before you find one that's doing something that's just standing still. And it's, there we are, 14. That's the traditional T-pose that you'd expect to see. Somewhere there's one of these guys standing there with his hand above his head, just like a lighting designer. So you have a click through. You do double click when you found one you like, and then you bring it over into your CAD view and you move it around. Just place it on stage, and you see there's a nice. Go and have a look at our shader view. Right click, finish library item. Let's have a drag across. There he is, or she, androgynous in this case. Let's go back. So talking about male and female, if you go into the later generations, we did start to get male and female versions of people. In fact, on generation 2 you could choose standing, businessman, businesswoman, casual man, casual woman. The generations really, it's just the quality. These are fine. These are quite, there's a lot of them. So casual man standing, casual man walking, you see they're quite generic. Creative businesswoman with a guitar, because all businesswomen play guitars. Yeah, they're fine. They light nicely. You can put some lights on them and, you know, see the colours. If we go back to generation 2, let's choose one by position again. Standing, formal woman standing. I'll use this one quite a lot because it's an opera singer. I worked in an opera house for 10 years, so this one got used quite a lot. We didn't name them. They appeared quite a lot. Now what I'd end up doing is creating arrays of people. Lighting designers always wanted to have the mannequins lined up on the centre line, straight up, half distance across the stage, or like you say, the quarter line across, and then at the edge, and then in each bay. So I'd have probably about 12 characters all in lines, and I just have those in a layer that I turned on and off. So if they wanted to focus lights across the stage, they can see how the lights are clipping off on the feet and the head across the whole stage. The only problem is they're all kind of a fairly standard height. If we zoom in and have a look at them on the toolbar here, so that's the height there. If you look at down here at the Z axis, They're all at 1.76, so it's about 5 foot 10ish. So it's kind of useful just to get generic height. The other objects I found quite useful were the doors, any sort of tables, chairs, furniture, that sort of thing. If I couldn't find what I wanted, because there's quite a lot of things here, just type in the search command, table, enter, and it'll show me all the tables. Now, because this is designed for events, it's literally got every possible configuration of banqueting table, so it's very hard to find, you know, like a dining table if that's what you wanted. You know, utility table, work table, trestle table, something like that's quite generic. What will tend to happen is if a designer would say to me, there's maybe a table downstage left, it's not on the plans, it just appeared in the rehearsal room the other day, could I see a table so I can just position some lights around it? I go, yep, okay, let's find a table. Ooh, how about this one? Double click on it, bring it into the model. So there it is, it's on the stage. Ooh. Right click, finish library item, and then I can move around. So there's my table. And then he might say to me, or she might say to me, let's spin it around. So this one I've got to select the table again. And I've got the two choices of rotating, edit, rotate, rotate in place. Rotate in place will take that central point there. So just rotate in place and just turn off my ortho mode so it doesn't snap. Just position it like that. And the designer will probably give me some sort of steer on that. And they say, right, there you go, that's where the table goes in that scene. And if I needed another scene, I might build a second one and put it on a different layer, just so I know that I've always got that position, because it's hard to get it back again. And the reason they'd have that is they might just say, I just want to see the light over there. It just helps them contextualize it. It doesn't actually have to be in the right place, because you've kind of eyeballed it anyway. But that would happen quite a lot, where a designer just wants to see a light on a table just because, even though you probably could guess it. So there you go, that's the library items. You know, have fun, go and find some really cool things. Try not to use it too much, because I think it can distract a little bit. I think the right thing to do is to build the scenery from scratch, have it all in the 3D model. It should all be included in the set. And ultimately these are placeholders. You can never really replace a real bit of scenery with an object from the library, because it won't be in the style of the production. It's a bit like finding recycled furniture. It just won't be in the right style, but it's good for a little placeholder in case you want to focus a light or to see a person in the right place.